August 2020. We're still in the midst of the pandemic. Corona's running wild out here. In Rhode Island, not so bad though. A couple of things I want to talk about today, just my opinion wise. First thing I want to discuss is, I've been around for a little while, so I've seen some things over the years, but I'm going to step backwards a little bit to when I was younger and I first came to the U.S. because I'm an immigrant. So when I first came here, it was 1973, and at that time America was the place to come to for the reasons: one, they seemed like they had everything put together, even though there were problems, and they were striving towards getting better, even though there were situations out there like racism, sexism, and so on and so forth. So as a young kid, when I came here, I noticed one thing. It was America first. T-shirt I had on had USA. Most of the products that I used, papers and stuff, that came from a U.S. company, manufactured in the USA by Americans. And it was funny because, excuse me, because it's hot out here. When I thought about it, I'm listening to conversations. It wasn't like it is today. It was more in this fashion. You were referred to as an American black, or an American Irish, or an American Italian, or an American Indian. But let's get ahead now, and we're in 2020, and over the years they changed it to where now we separated ourselves and put our cultures first. Well, African American, Italian American, Irish American. So now you're setting yourself apart instead of together. And one of the things I loved, one of the phrases as an American, was the United States. And to me it was like, wow, everything's united, they're working towards getting together, and this is going to be a good place to be, grow up, and build. And here it is now, 2020, and I see more destructive behavior than I've seen in my whole lifetime, through wars and conflicts and situations in the United States. So how did it become, or how did we get to this point? A couple of factors. One, we took away the innocence of the children in this country. We developed systems, our internet system, which allows us to research and be approached by just about anything, because nowadays when you click a button, you may refer to something, but usually it'll come up in some sexual nature, and videos and all that stuff comes up. So imagine young kids are using the same system, they're being introduced to this. When I was growing up, we still, to a certain extent, believed in Santa Claus, or the feeling of Santa Claus. Now everybody understands it's Black Friday, Christmas gifts, how much did I get, how much did you spend, how much could have been spent. We lost the whole idea of being human. We moved at a pace that was so fast that we forgot even ourselves in doing that. I see young women out here now, and I try to refer to them as young women, but if I listen to the music, they're referred to everything else degrading besides being a young woman or a beautiful person or something to that nature. And when you look at how men are, or young men nowadays are weak, to the sense that when I was coming up, if I had a conflict with somebody, we went heads up. I might have got my jaw broken, or he may have got his head busted, but we lived. We moved on. We either resolved our issue, or we realized that we don't need to associate. But nowadays, everybody has an opinion. Everybody's in your business and telling you how you should live. And yet, unfortunately, death is the consequence sometimes of a mistake, but that's what life is built on, making mistakes. In order to find an answer, sometimes you need to make a mistake. It's called the learning process. It's like when I grew up, we didn't have helmets when you rode a bicycle. I got a scar right here, scars on my knees. because it was a learning curve. You realize after a couple of falls, maybe you would want to pay attention to what's going on in front of you or maybe all around you. And it was kind of like the old passage that says, look both ways before you cross the street. There's a reason for it. We'll keep going on and we'll start discussing other traits that have left the American landscape, as I would say, is people keeping their properties presentable, clean, and respectful, so that people that pass by can judge it and say, man, this guy's or this woman is putting the effort in to show that they have pride, if not in their community, in themselves. We've lost the ability to slow down and smell and appreciate the good things in life. We got an awakening when coronavirus stepped in and slapped everybody around and said, sit in the house. Remember, you do have a mother and a father. Remember, you have a brother and a sister, or you have a son or a daughter, or you have a husband or a wife. We had to actually stop and realize that, it's time to come to terms that this is what life is really about. It's not about moving at 100 miles an hour and resting for 2 minutes. It's not about getting caught up in computers and the thought in your mind that what's on there controls and dictates who you are and what your life is going to become. It's only a tool. We've stopped teaching kids how to cope with bad news. We have to realize, unfortunately, good intentions don't always do people well, like politically being correct on a lot of things we're saying. In my opinion, when I was growing up, certain things were said to kids so that they understood that they had a certain place. Not everybody stands in the same line. When we were growing up, you wanted to be picked to play basketball or maybe soccer, but once in a while there's going to be the kid that just doesn't get picked. You know why? Because you're not good. And somebody's going to have to tell that kid that maybe you should change your mind about playing sports. Maybe you'll be better at art or at music or something like that. But yet we try to encourage the wrong things by saying that everybody should get a participation trophy. Wrong answer. Everybody can participate, but not everybody's gonna be a gold medal winner. Some people have to fill in the other aspects of the game, like water boy, like coach. You understand what I'm saying? So not everybody can be that #1 star. There needs to be a supporting cast, and it may be from the sidelines because you don't know how to play. But these are just my opinions. I'm just trying to bring something across to you from a guy that's been around for just a little bit and kind of understands, because I got emotional and physical scars of growing up. But I've learned how to deal with them, cope and move on, and enjoy a deep breath of fresh air. So that's what I want to pass along to you today. But once again, it's just my opinion.